This week's digital citizenship lesson is on news and media literacy, specifically artificial intelligence. Is it plagiarism? The essential question is, what is the impact of artificial intelligence on how we learn and create? Today's first vocabulary word is artificial intelligence, AI, a computer program or app that can perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. For example, analyzing data, identifying objects, creating images, or essays. Generative AI is a type of AI that can create content, including text, images, and audio. Finally, plagiarism, using someone's creative work without providing credit to them. Hello, Cougars. Miss C-Smith here with this week's lesson, and as you've heard, it's about news and media literacy. Specifically this week, it's about artificial intelligence, AI, and the plagiarism aspect of it. You're going to be listening to a podcast next. It's just, I think it's 3 minutes or so, of people talking about artificial intelligence, specifically ChatGPT. At the end of it, they do touch on the plagiarism aspect of it in schools, but I want to focus a little bit more on that right now before you listen to that podcast. So if you're not familiar with ChatGPT, it's a generative AI tool where you can type in a prompt and something pumps out for you. ChatGPT is just one of them. There's many of them, but it is the one they talk about in the podcast. It's a great tool. I use it for a variety of things. Sometimes I need help writing an email. I actually have a friend that uses it to plan her grocery list. She gives it specifics because she's on a special diet. She only wants to spend a certain amount and eat certain foods. And she types that all in and she gets her list out. It's quite remarkable. So it can be used for really fun things and useful things. It's a good tool. But it's also one where we need to be careful with it, especially when we're using it for school, right? So for assignments, it is open. It is not blocked by the district. It's open on your iPad, and it's something that you can use, but you need to be able to use it with what I'm calling academic integrity. So if you're going to use it, it's great if you have writer's block. Hey, I got to write an essay. I have no idea what to write it about. Maybe type in some ideas and they'll give you some ideas to write about. That is perfectly fine. It is also a place where you could type in something, did this happen, a fact of some sort, and you could see what it says, but here's what you need to do. You need to go get a reliable source to double check that fact to make sure it's true. Always double check facts on any generative AI that you're using. Finally, you must cite your sources, right? Otherwise, plagiarism is basically stealing, is what it is. You are taking someone else's work and saying it's your own unless you're citing it and saying where you got it from, and that includes any generative AI tool that you're using. So please make sure that you're citing that as you're working, so all of your work is credited and you don't get in any trouble. There's no gray area there. So, and as usual, if your teachers are saying that it's a no AI assignment, that you're not using AI. And if you're not sure, maybe you want to ask. All right, so there's my 2 cents. I always say to you, the more you know. So hopefully this is a little helpful in getting you thinking about your academic integrity. Hope you have a great week. Here's the podcast, and I'll see you next time.
This is your Tech News Briefing. I'm Zoe Thomas for the Wall Street Journal. Today, we are talking about ChatGPT, a state-of-the-art conversational AI model developed by OpenAI. ChatGPT is capable of engaging in human-like conversations, providing answers to questions, and even generating original content. That little introduction was written by ChatGPT itself, after just a short prompt from me. The artificial intelligence chatbot is suddenly everywhere, reaching 1 million users on Monday, just a week after it was released, according to its maker OpenAI. OpenAI also created DALL-E, an AI platform that creates images, including some award-winning images based on users' prompts. And those aren't the only AI programs becoming internet sensations. But the popularity and sophistication of these programs also raises questions about how they could be used or misused. Joining us to dive into that is our personal tech reporter, Anne-Marie Alcantara. Hi, Anne-Marie. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Zoe. Thanks, as always, for having me.
So let's start talking about ChatGPT. Can you just describe what it is for any listeners who haven't come across it yet?
So first of all, ChatGPT is a tongue twister, as you can tell. Very hard to say, really fast. But most importantly, it's a free AI chatbot. Really, you can ask it anything and everything. You can ask it, basic questions that you would Google, to even asking it to write a love song for you. And it'll spit out an answer, and you'll get a different response every time you ask something.
Okay, so for anyone who hasn't tried it out yet, can you tell us what, some prompts people are putting in and the kind of answers that ChatGPT is generating?
Yes, so you can ask it really any type of question you want. As for example, we've asked it if unicorns exist, and it said, a very nice little answer that unicorns are a fictional character and most likely don't exist. Others have asked it, really deep questions such as, when will I die? And it'll tell you it can't answer for you because it just doesn't make those types of predictions. And other questions that people have asked also include very existential ones, such as, who am I? And the chatbot will respond and tell you it can't answer that for you, and that only you can define yourself and who you are. So it can be deep, it can be funny, it can be serious, it can really be anything you want it to be.
So those are some really existential questions. What about some of the more creative prompts that people are putting in?
Yeah, so the other day I asked the chatbot to write me an essay about quantum physics and Pokemon, two very unrelated topics, and the chatbot spit out a great essay about what quantum physics is, what Pokemon is, and how they actually relate to each other, even though one is rooted in reality and the other one's, a fictional character. And so people have been asking it questions like that. People have tried to get it to solve homework questions. Engineers who work in computer science have also tried to, figure out problems and solutions that they've been having in their workday and finding responses to that as well.
How is it coming up with these answers?
So ChatGPT was trained on massive amounts of data that the company has gathered from the internet and other sources through 2021. And as you can imagine, it's infinite. What doesn't the internet have out there? Wikipedia alone has so much information, right? So it's kind of trained itself on that information and pulling from that to answer your questions.
Are there limitations to these answers?
There are some limitations. Like I described, sometimes it won't tell you a response because it can't, or, it's too existential. Some of the other limitations people have come across is that the chatbot will tell you information that isn't correct. And, maybe you're a scholar and you know that for a fact.
Let's talk a little more broadly about AI software, because ChatGPT isn't the only one that's taking off. What else is out there, and what is behind all of its popularity?
So some other interesting AI tools that have popped up include Lensa, which is this app that is at the top of the App Store charts right now. And it sort of takes photos that you feed it and makes a beautiful artistic photo. Some of it's really space-like. Some of it feels like it's out of Middle Earth. Another one that went popular a few months ago was DALL-E 2, which is a similar function to Lensa, where it takes things you've written down, like podcaster in space recording a session, and it'll turn that into an image. And really what's driving all of this is that these AI tools are now being given to the public, given to the everyday person, and you don't need to have a degree in advanced, artificial intelligence or computer science to know how to use them. You can just do exactly what we're describing, put in whatever prompt you want and see what the results are.
I mean, if everybody has access to these, it does raise a lot of questions about how it could be used. I mean, difficulties, say, for teachers, if students use these to write essays, or, even for people making a living, for artists or, journalists trying to write stories.
Those concerns have definitely been raised with all of these types of products. And many AI experts that I've spoken to have said that we should view some of these tools not as a goodbye to those roles and professions, but more so as an enabler of enhancing your work. So if you have writer's block, you could type in a prompt and see what it tells you, and then maybe that'll, get the juices flowing in your own brain. Naturally, if you're a student, maybe it'll help you understand the question better and come to your own conclusions and answers. Of course, people will probably use it in ways they shouldn't, but we'll see what guardrails end up being put in place to make sure that these things aren't abused in the ways that they definitely could be.
All right, that's our personal tech reporter, Anne-Marie Alcantara. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks.
And that's it for today's Tech News Briefing. For more tech stories, check out our website, WSJ.com. I'm Zoe Thomas for The Wall Street Journal. Thanks for listening.